Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Universe. This is Mock Draft After Dark. I don't know if I have a soothing enough voice to be doing this, but we're going to try and do it anyways. All right, I'm Aaron St. Dennis. Enough of that bullshit. At FF Mad Scientist on any social media. Joined by Jesse Moeller at JMoeller05. And we are joined late night by Hollywood Jack over here because he's not in Amsterdam, so he can stay up late with us. That would be I forgot what his name was. I almost went to read Hollywood Jack. That would be Jeremy Schulman at FF_Rebel. We are here for a 10-round Dynasty startup mock draft. Superflex, tight end premium. Looks like everybody is pretty much ready to go. You want to follow our written work, head over to fantasyfootballuniverse.com or follow the Fantasy Football Universe on any social media platform. We are everywhere. Please like, follow, comment, subscribe, all that kind of shit, review, all that. We respond to pretty much everything except for one guy. There was one guy. Did you notice that? Asshole kept commenting the same thing over and over again. So I blocked him. I blocked one person. But other than that, we respond to everyone. Almost everyone. All right.
That was my burner confession.
Oh, was it? I figured as much. Motherfucker. All right. I guess we're ready to get into it. Let's start. We have 12 of us in here. Superflex. I chose the 3. I wanted to pick the 4, but somebody jumped into it because I think for me, I want to have one of the top 4 quarterbacks. So we'll see what happens at 3 here. Let's fire it up. It looks like everyone except for Ryan Prosick is online. We have Josh Allen, no surprise. Patrick Mahomes, leaving me with the situation I did not really want to have. Do I want to be the asshole who passes on Jalen Hurts for CJ Stroud? I think I do.
Ooh. So I love that.
I almost took the 101 to do it, but I thought it'd be too spicy, so I took the 103 instead, so I wasn't a total ass clown.
We're cooking, baby. We're cooking. Yeah, I like how you combine 2 niches, fantasy football with ASMR content. So it's a fantasy football ASMR draft. So we are rolling after dark.
Aaron, talk a little bit more about Stroud over Hurts, because I think that's important for us to just flesh out a little bit here. We talked a little bit about perhaps Stroud over Allen. I know you and I are high on him, but why over Hurts?
Age, play style, weapons. Well, I guess not weapons. Weapons are even, but I am. Oh shit! 1 sec. Where's Brad? Brad. My buddy is in the draft, but did he get it?
Yep.
I forgot to message him. We were starting. Yep. Sorry. I am, anti-rushing quarterback. So you give me CJ Stroud. That's why I always have Mahomes at 1, despite, Allen's rushing upside. I know he's got the rushing upside, but it tends to be like running back. When it hits that cliff, it goes off the cliff real quick. So we have CeeDee Lamb at 107, our first non-quarterback.
Yeah, I get it. You're starting 3 wide receivers, and you're trying to get the truly elite guy. I'm going to shoot my moonshot here and take AR to the moon, baby. Let's go.
I knew it.
I can't resist.
I am going to add a little bit of time here on the clock, and if it becomes an issue, we'll go back to 30-second clock, but it seemed like we were rushing there for a bit.
Yeah.
When I put it on 60-second clock, everyone fucking takes their entire time, but when we're on 30, all of a sudden it's shotgun style here. So
yeah, you forcing the decision real quick.
I find these Superflex startup drafts, I find it's quarterbacks typically anywhere between the first 8 and first 10 picks. So to see Lamb go off the board at 7 is a bit surprising for me. Normally, you won't see one till 8. I would have thought Herbert and Richardson would have gotten in there. So basically, if you slide Richardson to the 107 and Herbert up a few picks, this is pretty much normal. I assume Bijan will go soon.
Yeah, Herbert's been falling though. With we've comped on this nonstop. How the offense is going to be super run heavy. You're seeing Herbert start to slide to the back end of the first. So I think that's kind of where he's in that range with those big 3 wide receivers, right?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily understand this love for CeeDee Lamb, number 1. I just think we've been talking about it all offseason. He's really just a benefactor of his amazing schedule. At the same time, he's up there. He's a top 3 guy for sure. But I want Jamar Chase over CeeDee Lamb every time in a startup draft.
Someone in the draft room would like to know if Hollywood is drafting in paradise.
You're goddamn right. Maybe it used to be paradise. It's Palm Springs, but can't necessarily complain. So far, so good. Day 1 of vacation.
let's recap the first round. 12 picks. We have 9 quarterbacks. We go Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, CeeDee Lamb, Anthony Richardson, Justin Jefferson, Chase, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love. So the only one that I found out of the norm here was kind of Jordan Love. I would have expected that to be either St. Brown or Bijan, but I don't hate it. Want to talk about why you did that, and then let me know, and I'll unpause you here.
Yeah, about Jordan Love is I just absolutely love what he did last year. The weapons are all in place. We know the coaching is in place, and they just got Josh Jacobs, right? So really the only thing that I'm a little concerned about is that offensive line. I don't think that's going to be a concern post-draft here. I think the Packers are going to do the right thing. They're going to take at least one, if not 2 offensive linemen, continue to build that because all the other weapons are in place. And assuming that happens, Jordan Love is just going to be ridiculously set up for success now and in the future. For me, is he above Herbert? I'm not sure. It's really close. Is he above Richardson? For me, yes.
Okay. All right. And you are up on the clock for the first pick of the second round.
So this is a tough one for me. I think you mentioned the guy already that I'm going to take. It's going to be Bijan, but it's really just because I don't want to pick between Amon-Ra. We got Marv there. We got Garrett Wilson and A.J. Brown. I'm just going to let whoever falls to me later on, and I'm going to take Bijan here.
That's an interesting question here. You mentioned we have Marvin Harrison Jr. on the board. Was that even in your consideration? Because for me, when I see that on the board, I thought that's ridiculous. He's not even in the top 6 players I'm considering there.
He's my wide receiver 11 or 12 right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, at this time next year, could he be wide receiver 4 or 5? Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. He's in that group for me. Like, I'm not going to fight it. I've been lower on him than everybody, but like, I'm going to play the Marvin. He's right up there with. You guys know it's Puka Nacua. Like, if I'm taking a wide receiver, I'm taking a guy that's really young, just had the best rookie season of all time, and is tied to a fantastic quarterback. So, like, instead of going Harrison, like, I'll get this sure thing and get Puka. But you could make a case for really any of these guys. If you want to go one of the quarterbacks, you can go quarterbacks. But the thing is, you can go Caleb. I would make the case for Caleb. You could take maybe Brees or Gibbs if you want to do it. But, like, I really don't want to take Caleb at this price. It's just like, I'm just going to take the wide receiver because it's 3 wide receiver build. And then I'm going to worry about my QB2 a little bit later because it's still pretty deep, but it is going to fall off here pretty soon. So I'm just going to take Puka and lock him in.
Yep. I think that's a good pick too, because Caleb for me isn't in this range. I know he's going at the back end of the first a lot. For me, he's more like back end of the second at this point. Could he climb? Sure. But like you said, even guys like Kyler Murray, I want over Caleb at this point.
Yeah, I think it's interesting discussing between those two, like Caleb or Kyler. Like I prefer Kyler. I've been a Kyler guy forever, but you can make the case for Caleb if you really believe. And I mean, that situation's awesome, right? So you believe in the talent.
Yeah, it's true.
So going McCaffrey there, how do you guys feel about that? Because if you do that with a startup, like, you're solidifying your team build, right? So you basically are going all in for win now if you take McCaffrey at the 206 or 208. Like, I just think that's super risky.
Yeah, I don't necessarily mind it, but yeah, you have to kind of insulate your build with not necessarily younger running backs, but with running backs who with running backs later on, but with probably younger wide receivers.
Sorry to interrupt. I have an interesting question. I'm on the clock here. How was the highest quarterback left on the board Justin Fields? Who does these rankings?
It's outdated ADP. So, like, this is outdated.
How?
ADP, so,
that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Sometimes you'll notice with a few players that are well down on this list that fall, like, they sleeper lags behind the offseason because of that, because of all the stuff in Windows. So, like, you'll notice, like, Dak's a little high. Brock is the second quarterback. Like, I'm like, no, those guys are not right. So you have to pay attention to ADP. Like, it's a really good time to draft because of how out of order it is right now.
This one was tough for me. I went with Gibbs because I think he was the no, I guess there's one more elite top tier of running back, I think, for me. Other than that, it was either that or I don't really want to go an older build, so I wasn't thinking Tyreek. For me, it was either Gibbs or I go AJ, Olave, or Garrett Wilson, who went right after.
We talked a little bit about Marvin Harrison Jr. What about Neighbors? How are we feeling there? I know he's our consensus wide receiver 2 right now. Well, consensus, but I know Jesse's got a different wide receiver 2. But where do we feel comfortable taking Neighbors?
I'm fine with him in this range. Like if I'm doing a startup draft, I'm
okay. Once
I get past where kind of Caleb goes, I'm fine taking any of those rookie wide receivers like right in that range. So like outside of whoever your wide receiver 1 is, like my wide receiver 1, I'm going to put him at like the 203. In the Caleb range, like right there, I'm fine with the wide receiver 2, wide receiver. So like I know it seems risky, but like they're insulated, they're in great situations, like they're elite prospects. Like I'm fine pulling the trigger there. This is kind of the thing you realize is people are scared of risk. Both of those really young players and the really old players. But like with the really young players, they're so insulated. Like I don't think there's actually much risk.
I never get any of the high end rookies in startups because I'm never willing to take them where they go. Okay, so to recap the second round here, Jeremy started it off with Bijan, then we have St. Brown, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler, Puka Nacua, Breece Hall, Trevor Lawrence, Christian McCaffrey, Caleb Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, Garrett Wilson, Jonathan Taylor. So we have two teams that have 2 quarterbacks already, and 2 teams that have no quarterbacks. So we will fire it right back up. Any thoughts so far, guys?
We are doing a third round reversal.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are. So it's you back up on the clock.
Nice. I love that, actually. And I didn't realize that because we were chatting a little bit beforehand. But in this case, I'm even happier that I took Bijan. I'm going to settle with him as my running back, and I'm really just not going to do anything else at running back for a long time. This one's a little tricky for me, but I'm going to go ahead and take my wide receiver 4 off the board at the moment, and that's A.J. Brown. He's just, what is he, still 26. He's locked in. We got Hurts. I mean, he's an absolute monster, proved it last year, so A.J. Brown, no-brainer for me.
He's just really good, man. You just like I know I kind of like knock him down a little bit because he's getting older and he like his age is creeping up on him. Like he's about to be 27. Like that's starting to play a factor for him compared to some of these rookies and stuff. But like he's such a good player, man. Like you know what you're getting with him. There's no risk. Yep, there goes
the 10th team here has drafted 2 receivers and a tight end before a quarterback.
I don't mind it. Like there's a lot of quarterbacks still. It like the whole issue with it is it's going to like they're gonna be desperate for quarterback pretty soon because there's gonna be a run.
You're gonna see a couple of more quarterbacks at least go off the board, and then it's gonna be a long way. It's the long way here to get back to them. I don't mind if he's at the end of the 3rd round taking this pick, knowing there's only 4 picks to get back to him. There can be a huge run of quarterbacks here before it gets back to him. Like you could have 6 easily gone.
Well,
I think
that's sorry. No, Jesse, it's you.
I was gonna say I think doing startups this way, there's more like you kind of have to get your guy, right? Because we're not doing kickers, we're actually inputting rookies. So like for instance, if it was like we were using kickers, I might just take the 102 right here. But since we're talking like it's kind of open and it's maybe it's what's his face, Jaden Daniels is right there. Maybe you don't want to go in. You could go Malik Neighbors, so you can pack, but now you have to pick your guy. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my tight end 1 right here because it's a tight end premium, and I don't know why we're punting these like really good tight ends. So I'm gonna lock in Trey McBride and just lock up that elite like positional need and just not worry about it. So like that's where I'm gonna go right here.
Yeah, I love it. I even forgot to set in premium, but obviously Laporta there, no problem in a regular build, and McBride, I have no issue there. I think I recently, probably because of Jesse has been a big influence on some of my rankings in the offseason, and he's been talking about Trey McBride since last October. So Trey McBride is now my tight end 3 in Dynasty. That was a very easy move for me there.
How do you feel about Kyron right there? That's interesting.
That's almost exactly where he's going consensus, RB6. 1, 2, 3. So that's exactly where he's going consensus.
Yeah. Like I mean, I get it, right?
Yeah, I don't want really anyone, maybe Saquon, but you don't have the years that Kyron has. So yeah, I'm fine with it, to be honest. How about the Dak stack, right? This guy, nice. So who's this Deuce up there? He took CeeDee Lamb at the 107, followed up with Breece Hall, good value, right where I think he should go. He's got his RB1 locked in, and then Dak Prescott at a crazy value at the 306. Is this so? First of all, the stack, but also, what do we think about the Dak value here at 306?
Be honest, this is Deuce Vaughn drafting, right? And he's teammates. Just saying. I am going to do something interesting here. I am going to take Malik Neighbors.
Ooh, I like it.
In hopes of doing something else, but we'll see if it pans out for me.
That's a really good value in Malik Neighbors. Like I can't even like.
I'm going to like it a lot more in a second, or I'm going to wish I hadn't done it. Motherfucker.
This is the whole game where you start fading quarterback. This is the problem.
No, I'm swearing at the hockey game. I didn't even see the pick. Fucking Montreal scored. Detroit's losing. I don't know. They're in a win now game, and it's 7 minutes to go in the third, and they're losing. I did. Brock Purdy was not who I wanted. He did not get a motherfucker out of me. Trust me. No.
Let's recap here.
Yeah. These guys are really low.
That's who I wanted there. I wanted to try and stack Jaden Daniels and hope they went to the what did we have them mocked? The Raiders? That's what I was hoping.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 sec. So we got the 301. We have AJ Brown, Chris Olave, Sam Laporta, Drake London, Trey McBride, Dak Prescott, Kyron Williams, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Ayuk, Malik Neighbors, Brock Purdy, and Jaden Daniels. And we will start up in the 4th round.
Question for you guys about what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Aaron, about a couple of people already having their second quarterback by the 2nd round. How do you guys prefer to build your Dynasty Superflex teams? Do you want 2 early quarterbacks? Or if not, when are you comfortable taking that second quarterback? How do you prefer to build?
It's all scoring dependent for me. So like I get a little micro with it. So like if the league incentivizes like these elite passers where they have 6-point passing touchdown, you get bonus for passing yards and stuff attempts. Then yeah, like I'll get those elite guys. But I like what Ryan did because he got Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams. You lock those 2 guys and you don't worry about it, and then you're just fine, right? And then you just attack the positional needs outside of that. But like in this with a mock, like I'm just gonna fade quarterbacks because it's always fun to see how it plays out. Yep. So I like kind of going this team build just to go this way. But usually I'll go in the top 3 rounds. I'm usually saying 2.
Yeah. As you see, I want 2 quarterbacks in the top 4 rounds, especially knowing one team needs at least 1 quarterback. I looked at. I don't really want Fields, May, Watson, Young, Cousins, Mayfield. I would have held on for Goff because I have Gibbs, but. Other than that, we see Bowers go here in the 4th, 3rd tight end off the board.
Very good value.
Yeah, especially when you're talking about age. I mean, you got Hawkins in there, but he's not going to be ready for the start of the season. You got Andrews, who's getting up there, 28, I believe. And then really outside of Kelsey, you got Kincaid, who's climbing, and then Kyle Pitts, who's still on the board. What are you guys feeling between Bowers and Pitts? I think I'm Pitts over Bowers at the
moment. My issue with Pitts is if he doesn't hit, he's going to tank in value. So like I'm going to take Bowers and just like I'll have the insulation with him where like he's not going to take a massive hit if he struggles. If Pitts struggles this year, like people are going to be pissed off. They're going to be like, dude, everything's working for you. So like when I'm deciding between guys and I'm unsure, I'm almost always taking like the high profile between 2. Unless it's a massive like difference per game, which I don't know if I can predict that right now. So like maybe later on and I can, but like right now I have no idea. So I'm just gonna take the rookie.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't have Bowers or Pitts there. I think I would have taken Andrews next. That's just me.
Brad's about to time out here.
I see. Yeah, he's seen.
Here you go. See, like what's interesting with these drafts is like, would you trade? Like, would you be willingly accept if you had the 102? Would you trade it for 2? Because that's basically like you did your draft. But like, I'm actually all right. Yeah, I'm gonna take Rome Odunze right here. Like I'm not.
I suspect I'm frozen. Did you guys get me back now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yep.
I'm taking Rome. Like
I heard you were breaking up though. I shut the hockey game off. I think I had 9 devices streaming at the same time on the same cable, and my internet was like, "Yeah, fuck this guy."
Yeah, so like I think with this, it makes it really interesting because like if I was an actual startup, I'd be real tempted to take quarterback there, but I'm gonna punt it and see how it plays out because I just enjoy a little chaos. So I take my favorite wide receiver, Rome Odunze. Well,
It says to be a quarterback here or a running back, I would assume, but
He can keep punting it. Like I have an idea of the type of quarterback he's looking for. If you want to go the veteran, like
Cousins,
Stafford, Cousins, Rodgers, like all those old dudes, you could play this game for a while. Like you can push it to the 8th round if you really want to. But man, it's a dangerous fucking game.
Yeah, but
it's
he's
so
got
dangerous.
a young build. Does he want to stack old ass quarterback with young build?
But they're all impact young guys. Like it's like I still think he's gonna get points per game from those guys, you know. So it's not guys that you're worried about them not producing unless you're worried about Laporta or something. And then he gets Higgins. Yeah, I think he's just punting.
Yeah. T was the last guy that I was happy with in this particular range of wide receiver. I'm not loving what I'm seeing otherwise, so I'm gonna move on. And I'm probably going to swing big here. Let's see. Yep. What are we gonna do? We're gonna go Saquon.
Just a sec. So 4th round, we got starts off with DJ Moore, Devonta Smith, Tua Tagovailoa, Brock Bowers, Jalen Waddle, Nico Collins, Michael Pittman, Roma Dunze, Kyle Pitts, T. Higgins, Mark Andrews, and Saquon Barkley. Let's kick it back to you, Hollywood.
Yeah, with Saquon there, I just think he's got an elite year coming. I don't think there's any chance aside from injury. And he's probably got another year or two. So if my team ends up in the tank, then I can sell him at value. If not, I can try to ride him to a championship. But this kind of puts me in more of a win now situation. Whereas with Love, Bijan, and even AJ Brown, I had a little bit of wiggle room. So because I'm win now, I'm going to go Travis Kelce.
There you go. Whew, that's early Kelce. That is bold, sir. But hey, if he's still good for a couple years, you'll be fine.
Listen, I think I was going to take Kelce if it got to me.
I think the concern with Kelce for sure is what are the Chiefs doing? Are they, or what is Kelce doing? Are they really kind of resting him as these kind of, we've seen these elite teams do, and then just letting him turn it on for the playoffs? That's certainly a possibility. The problem is there's not enough, there's no volume weapon there. Rashee Rice is good enough, but I don't think he's a volume guy. We got Hollywood Brown there. And even if they draft a guy in the 1st round, do we really have outside those top 3 wide receivers a volume wide receiver? I don't think so. I think they still need Kelce to make the offense go, unless, of course, they draft an early running back like we talked about.
William Shatner Pants is back on the clock. Going to punt. He's got to take a running back. You can't punt running back and quarterback, especially with ETN and Walker still on the board. I think those are the easy picks there. Or even White.
But I agree with you, but you can. I mean, like wide receiver, zero RB strategy. I love it. I especially love it when you punt quarterback because you just collect all these elite assets. You build it elsewhere. The problem is I have a couple of teams where I've done this, and now I'm left with Daniel Jones and Deshaun Watson, right? So what the hell am I going to do with those teams? The rest of my team looks great. But when you have those 2 quarterbacks rolling them out every week, it's harrowing. It's a little
or
scary.
In his case, the downside is when you time out and lose the value you were getting by punting quarterback by auto picking a quarterback. So.
But I don't mind Jared Goff, to be honest. Like in this space, I mean, he's reported to be getting an extension, coming in very soon, very lucrative one. He's got the weapons around him. I think a healthy JMO opens up that offense. We saw what Laporta can do and Amon-Ra. So Goff is set up to produce high-end QB2 numbers.
I think he's having internet issues. Are you seeing him all pixelated and frozen on your screen, or is it just me?
Yeah, he's struggling. Jesse, put up 2 fingers if you want us to draft you, Javid and Joku here.
It's weird. I would say if you're getting Goff in games, you're never going to get value back on where you take him at this point because of who's available.
Does anybody have a Jesse translator?
Jesse said you're never going to get value back on taking Jared Goff at this range. And I do agree with him because even though I like Goff at this range, when you're punting quarterback, the quarterbacks tend to fall significantly. And it's really like Jesse was talking about earlier. It's that waiting game. You're gambling and playing a bit of chicken to see who takes quarterback when. Jared Goff, I like it, but at 5'3", I agree with Jesse a little bit that it is a little early. Still, with no quarterbacks, I don't hate it.
All right, let's see. We have Ken Walker. I was between Ken Walker and ETN. They are both gone. Tight end. I don't really love this spot in the draft here. This is where I would love to trade down. All the guys I wanted just went. Yep. QB, I don't really need a third QB right now. I like a couple of the options here. I don't particularly love any of those options unless I want to go old. I don't really like any of those options. So let's go with a running back. I know White is the top guy on the board. Am I crazy to go Josh Jacobs over these three?
I wouldn't, but I can understand it.
Do I believe in Rachaad White getting enough pass volume to do it again? Give me Josh Jacobs.
Yeah. I really don't hate Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to have some pass volume there as well. We know A.J. Dillon isn't a threat to anybody. Personally, I like, and I know Jesse's on board with me, we love James Cook. Also, Isaiah Pacheco. I really just love his ability to score touchdowns in an offense. He runs like a madman. He's the goal line guy. I don't think that's going to change either.
Pacheco worries me with all the rumors of them looking to draft a running back.
That's fair, but I would say the same about Rachaad White as well. And James Cook could find himself in that boat too. I think the only person
I drafted James Cook or Josh Jacobs. Yeah. Thank you.
Agree.
Yeah, I think James Cook is more secure because he has a draft capital tied to him that the other guys do not. Unfortunately, like when it comes down to that, that's kind of what I split him.
Okay. Yeah. 5th round, we have Travis Kelce, Devon Achane, Jared Goff, Travis Etienne, Drake May, Dalton Kincaid, TJ Hawkinson, Ken Walker, Tank Dell, Josh Jacobs, Rachaad White, and James Cook. And we will go back to the start of the 6th round here.
And this is just my guy, Ryan, sticking up for me. It's very possible that Travis Kelce was just hurt. If that's the case and he was nursing kind of these nagging injuries all season, he comes back. As has been discussed by multiple people in the fantasy space and the NFL space, if he really was just hurt, I mean, he's got a couple monster seasons left in him.
I don't love this spot at all. Kittle's my top tight end. Don't really want him. I don't really want any of these running backs right here. I don't need a quarterback, and I'm not in love with any of these wide receivers. I feel like DK's the guy I want. Devontae Adams, but my team build isn't really old. Cooper Kupp. Oh, we're getting into an ugly spot in the draft. I am going to go with DK Metcalf. I don't love that spot. Thoughts? Yeah. Oh, we lost Jesse. I didn't even notice.
No, I mean, it's tricky because, I think you were on a pod a couple of days ago talking about DK Metcalf having that one elite season. And then, really just living off of that value for the rest of his fantasy career, which I thought was an excellent point. And the problem is he's probably not going to be that one wide receiver one for you anymore. Is he a wide receiver two? Yeah, I think he's firmly in there, but we have to see what happens with Lockett coming back and JSN likely taking more touches. But I'm still a DK Metcalf fan. I'm still riding that value from a couple of years ago when he was, like you said, wide receiver 6.
Yeah, and then basically a mid-range wide receiver 2 the rest of the way. That's a case there where I do not like the build I currently have based on my wide receiver room alone. Ideally, what I would like here is now to have one of the veterans of Diggs, Adams, someone like that get back to me. But I guess we'll see. Now that I said my strategy, it probably won't work out. But
that's one thing that I do love is the Stephon Diggs, right? You have CJ Stroud there. We've seen Nico and Tank go off the board. I think those guys their values insulated for years to come. Stephon Diggs, I'm not sold that he's the number one there, but he is going to get plenty of volume to produce, and he very well could be the number one in terms of targets, not necessarily in terms of skill. And if Diggs had a situation where he wasn't necessarily happy, maybe he was dealing with some kind of nagging stuff, injuries in the back half of the season where he totally fell off a cliff, he could just come back, be rejuvenated from this move, as we've seen happen with him before, moving from Minnesota to Buffalo. And now in Houston, he could just absolutely go nuclear.
I'm going to let this tick and see if Jesse gets back in, as my team has 7 seconds left to score or they're eliminated. It's lovely. I definitely don't love, I'll tell you, this spot in come about midway through the last round, midway through the 5th round is where I really started to not like our options. So it falls off real quick. Oh my God, you're kidding me.
What?
One sec. My notifications are ahead of my phone. Apparently, I think
I hate that.
To score. No fucking way. They scored with 3 seconds left to tie. Oh shit!
Nice.
Shit! Did he get autoed?
Okay.
Who did I get it with 1 second left?
Yeah, he didn't pick.
Okay, guys, we're gonna give him another 30 seconds here or so, and then we'll.
So we left off with DK Metcalf. Interesting. Ryan Prost takes Brian Thomas off the board. He's got Brandon Ayuk. I know we all love the talent. Tank Dell, who may take a little bit of time given his situation in the injury, but we love the talent again. Brian Thomas is a really interesting case because we're going to find out what the NFL thinks of him. But throughout the process from day one, they've been saying he's going to be a day one wide receiver. If he is, and he ends up in Miami, Buffalo, Kansas City. I mean, some of these spots are super interesting to help him insulate his value. And then we got Zay Flowers, Deebo Samuel, and Deshaun Jackson before Jesse Moeller takes.
We're going to let him auto pick here because he says his internet's down. We got Rashee Rice. Rashee.
Yep. What are you thinking about Rashee Rice? I know you talked to Drew Davenport last week. We've seen him say don't necessarily buy any additional value dip based on these lawsuits that are coming out. That's kind of standard. What do you think of Rashee Rice in general in terms of his value rate?
I'm buying him. I thought the same thing I did a month ago of him. I think he's probably a wide receiver 2 on his team and the league. I don't think he's a true alpha, but I'm not any lower on him because of the situation. I don't think it's a long-term issue. He gets maybe 1 or 2 games, but so that
for me, I was never super high on him to begin with, and with Hollywood coming in, I think he's a good talent. But with Hollywood coming in, I mean, that's kind of interesting. This is true, but this is what happens when you draft with actual rookies instead of rookie picks. I mean, everyone's kind of buying into that value. It's kind of what Jesse was saying earlier about the value of these rookies like Marvin Harrison and Neighbors and his guy Rome. I think he was talking about it with Bowers, right? You're just taking the shot that the guy absolutely explodes in year one and just becomes an elite asset, which when you have an elite talent, it's absolutely possible. So A.D. Mitchell, we saw him be an elite talent. Brian Thomas Jr. has that potential. I don't hate it.
He got auto-picked the guy he wanted, hey? I just seen in the comments that he said Rice.
Yeah, my internet is completely out of whack.
I will take JSN here and we can pause it, I guess.
I'm going to pause it, yeah. 1 sec. Okay, so we've got 6th round, George Pickens, Isaiah Pacheco, DK Metcalf, Brian Thomas Jr., Zay Flowers, Deebo Samuel, Deshaun Watson, Rashee Rice, Kirk Cousins, Jaden Reed, Jordan Addison, and JSN and Jeremy back on the clock at the 7:01.
Yeah, so this is a really tricky spot for me. I mean, some of the quarterbacks that I would have wanted, especially Kirk Cousins, went off the board. I have an opportunity to pick Baker Mayfield, but Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers are still hanging around. I don't love that, but I think I'd rather just build elsewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a veteran wide receiver here to go along with JSN on the stack and really flesh out the rest of my roster. My options here are Diggs, who I'm not as high on him as these next 2 guys, next 3 really, Adams, Kupp, or Evans. Really, it's just going to come down to quarterback and situation for me, and I don't believe Cooper Kupp is done. I'm taking him over Devontae Adams just because that quarterback situation is such an unknown.
Where did Jesse go now?
He's,
I have to- Yeah, so I have
Yeah.
to. I'm using my phone, so I have to like check the screen. I have to hop off to look at Sleeper.
No worries, man.
It's going very well. Let me tell you.
He's exploring the depths of the internet at the moment.
Well, apparently all of us are on location, like outside or wherever the hell he is. Looks like everyone's on location here, but
What's up, babe?
oh, I thought that was my kid. It's your kid. Who we go? It's you
That's-
on the clock. Hey, Jesse,
Oh,
who do you want? I
Jesse.
can pick it for you. Just tell me.
They left your boy. They left your boy.
Yeah, just give me Adams. Let's just do it. Get it over with.
Yeah.
I said no.
I mean, as Jesse mentioned last week, and he's been talking about with Devontae Adams, he had a terrible quarterback situation last year. He still ended up with 170 plus targets, right? This is the type of situation that you want to see from wide receivers. If it's a rookie, if it's somebody else, Adams is still going to hold value, assuming he doesn't fall off a cliff. I don't think that's coming. For me, it was between Cup and Adams, and I think Adams' value there at 705 is insane.
So my strategy after drafting relatively young at wide receiver and not really a stud was to wait and hope I got one of the old guys who could give me one last year of being an alpha. And then we see Cup, Evans, Diggs, and Adams go in his 5 picks. Yeah. Fuck me.
Yeah.
That's what that's called. Fuck me.
This is where you see him go. Yeah.
Watch Brad will take one too, I'm sure. What does he have? What do you got? He probably needs a running back, though. Who do you guys like at this point if you were on the clock?
I like the veteran running backs around the spot. Like the guys that you're going to get volume with and production. Like there's a ton of these guys still left. So I think now's a good time to start stabbing at them.
For me, it's with what's remaining, it's Najee. I know he's going to get the volume. So that's who I'm taking there. Austin Eckler for me there is a little high. But that's mostly because I think, we've seen the best of Austin Eckler, and I think Brian Robinson is still going to be the guy there in Washington.
Jesse, turn your phone sideways.
I think my internet might be working, but we'll see. Whoa.
Hey.
There you go.
Yeah. Cool. Sweet. There we go.
Jesse in stereo. All right.
We got you back.
Fields
I'm back,
from
baby.
those.
We'll see how long it lasts for, but I am back, man.
Justin Fields, was that an auto pick? I missed it.
No, he picked. Does everyone have 2 quarterbacks? JJ
Wow.
McCarthy, thank
That's
you.
really late for JJ McCarthy. So
Does everyone have 2 QBs now, except for the guy who
No,
punted?
No, the back end. All three of us at the
Oh,
end.
yeah,
of the draft,
you're right.
just have one.
Okay, so I need
Which-
a true alpha wide receiver in the 7th round. Yeah. Actually, I don't hate my options as much as I thought. I am going to take a little bit of a risk here because I think the most upside, if he's not dead, is Keenan Allen. He could be dead, though, so it's a
there's
risky
that.
play.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
I mean, he's in
value
that
is
range of old
insane.
guys. Yeah. Like you got Amari, Ridley, our boys, Ridley. Maybe he gets it going on this year. Godwin, DeAndre Hopkins. There's a lot of these guys. It's just really about picking which one you prefer. Because, like, realistically, they're all going to produce similar amounts, right? So, like, say, for instance, Evans, Diggs, Adams. There shouldn't be too much, like, in production difference from those guys this year.
Yeah.
Okay, 7th round we have starts with Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, DeAndre Swift, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. So we see a run of old receivers: David Montgomery, Austin Eckler, Justin Fields, JJ McCarthy, Keenan Allen, Evan Engram, Derrick Henry, who I did not see was on the board. Otherwise, he would have been my pick. It's kind of shoot your shot on old player and pray there's something left at this point is what it looks to be. So did I unpause that? Yeah.
One thing I'll say is after the draft, I know we have some wonky ADP here from Sleeper, but after the draft, we're going to see a lot of these rookie wide receivers creep up once they land. I think at this point, guys like Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Lad McConkey, these types of guys are probably going to be going here in the 6th, 7th round. And while that's good value for them, I think depending on where they land, it's also going to push the value of the older guys down the board.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Bryce Young is still on the board, honestly. Like, taking Fields in particular over him, like, seems super risky. Like, but I mean, maybe he starts this year, maybe he doesn't. It's just, if I'm taking Fields as a QB2, then I have to insulate him with a veteran because you don't know when he's going to play this year.
Yeah. Where are we on the Russ versus Fields? Because I don't think Russ is completely washed. I think he can hold off Fields all season. Do you guys agree, or do you think Fields can get in there and take over?
I think they're going to give Fields a shot at some point, but he's got to be better than he's been. Like, he might get a shot, but I don't think he's going to hold the job because that defense is still good, right? So they're going to be competitive. So they're going to as long as Russ isn't terrible, it's his job to lose. And they like Fields, but I don't know. It's just I would expect Fields to probably play a handful of games, but Russ probably the majority.
I didn't particularly like any of my options there and went with Najee. I don't know. I'm getting to the point where this is where I'm starting to consider the rookies now.
Take the rookies.
Yeah.
The value.
I almost took Troy Franklin there, but I think it's too early, so I went with Najee because he was probably the best of the remaining running backs. I also considered one of the rookie running backs. I wasn't going to take Brooks, though. I also need a tight end. I am one of 1, 2. What do we got? Just 2 teams without one?
Looks like it. Yeah.
1 and 3.
Where do we think the rookie running backs end up? Because they're going to be higher than this, right? Like depending on landing spot. I can see taking him. Brooks. We're assuming he lands in Dallas, right? I'm taking him over Montgomery. I'm taking him over Swift.
I'm not taking him over Montgomery.
I'm taking over both those guys. Like I'm not like particularly Montgomery. Like that just the upside isn't really there. Like, he was like RB14 last year. And like it's not gonna get better, it's only gonna get worse with Gibbs there, right? So I think this is the thing people struggle with rookies, in particular at this point where we don't have landing spots for them. It's like people are so scared to draft them, but it's like on the flip side, you're not going to get value return for these veterans you're pushing up. Like some of these guys, you're not going to be able to sell for a profit like at all. You just kind of have to accept the loss. So Oh,
for me, it's a case of he. I forgot. He's in the other room. He wasn't paying attention. I think he's cashed out for the night. What was I going to say? Jonathan Brooks, ACL tear in November. That's why I don't want him right now. I'm not convinced he's healthy enough to play.
With him, I would just take him, and then I would just insulate with older running back. So I would take him, and then I would go down the list and get myself like a Joe Mixon or whatever. Like I would go that route. I'm actually gonna take a wide receiver right here. I'm screwing running backs. I'm taking AD Mitchell. Let's go for it. Let's go, big dog.
There you go. I like that.
Dad.
Okay.
Yeah, I like AD Mitchell there. He makes a ton of sense, and I think, the athleticism, the absolute freak speed. Scored 11 touchdowns last year in addition to everything that he put on tape in the combine. So AD Mitchell, I think, is an absolute steal in the 8th round. He's going to climb up, and if he lands in the 1st round in the NFL draft, we could be talking about AD Mitchell on Buffalo or Kansas City in like the 6th round startups, maybe the 5th.
Yeah, I think that the 6 rounds where you probably see the first rookie running back go. I would assume because that's basically a late one in value, and somebody's gonna get pushed up there. So
we just need landing spots.
We May 30th. Is that let me check 1 sec. Detroit has been eliminated. Lovely.
Sorry to hear.
Sorry, May 30th. I'm multitasking here. May 30th. Where's my fucking calendar?
I don't even like Will Levis, but getting him there is like incredible value.
Thursday,
that pays off.
Thursday, May 30th. I don't know a definitive time yet. You guys can tune in. We will be doing the FFU first official AMA on Reddit, on the big fantasy football Reddit thread. It's a Thursday, he says. Yes. Okay, sorry. I was multitasking. Going to recap here.
Oh.
8th round, we started with Deontay Johnson, Chris Godwin, Najee Harris, Jonathan Brooks, Jake Ferguson, Christian Watson, Xavier Worthy, AD Mitchell, Alvin Kamara, Baker Mayfield, Will Levis, and Matthew Stafford before Jeremy kicks us back off at the 9:01.
I'm happy I got Stafford there we got the Stafford Cup stack. I absolutely love a stack just because you're going to go off and you just hope those guys are healthy and crush it at the end in the playoffs for you. But here I kind of want to go younger. Problem is I like the value of running back. So it's really tricky here. I don't love the wide receivers I'm looking at. I could take someone like Franklin. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Troy Franklin or Lad McConkey there. I think that helps me in my build.
I don't have this phenomena in football because I'm a fantasy guy, not a particular team fan. but this pretty much sums up what it's like to be a fan of a team, like an actual team. All day I said, this Wings team sucks. I hope they fucking lose today because we're just going to get destroyed in the first round of the playoffs, put us out of our misery and lose. And then they're out before the game's over because Washington won. And now I'm sitting here going, fuck, I kind of wanted to see them make the playoffs now.
Right.
All day I said, I don't want to suffer. Let it be over. And now I'm going, damn it, I wanted them to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm disappointed, but it is what it is. That's actually, where are we? So we got Troy Franklin, who was someone I was eyeing, Joe Mixon, Bryce Young. We are back up at the 904 here. I'm going to have to take a tight end soon.
Here's a question. So we have William, I can't read his whole name.
Shatner?
I don't know, but at the 110, started off punting quarterback, taking Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, and Bryce Young. I kind of love it. And that's really how I prefer to build my teams, is finding that value that falls late. I think he's pretty decently set up at quarterback, and he's got Jamar Chase, Marvin Harrison, Sam Laporta, and T. Higgins to support all of that fantasy production. That's a great team. I love it.
That's nice.
My team wins in a shootout and misses the playoffs anyways. Motherfucker. Okay, sorry. Back to football. Who are you going to take?
Oh, you're good. I if I'm going in normal startup strategy, like what I would do is a few rounds ago, I would take a Bryce Young as my QB3. Probably
you have no running backs. You know that, right?
I know. I'm looking at him right now. I'm deciding on my rookie running back. I'll take Benson. Benson's my RB2, but like I don't even really like Benson that much. I have Brooks above all these guys, so like it's kind of just like take your guy. Benson here, and hopefully gets a good spot. I just think he's a good back. But overall, you can take Coleman, take Rat, you can take Lloyd, you can take whoever your guy is, and I would be fine with that.
Fuck.
Yeah, I mean Benson is still my RB1 at the moment. I mean, obviously that's going to all change in a week, but I absolutely love that. If he's your RB1, I mean that's fantastic. Can't argue there.
It like fits my build because everyone. The only I have is Adam, so he feels really out of place. But it's just like we're going with you. Just one.
But that's your boy.
We need somebody to anchor all these rookies. Be like, "I get him in shape, Adam. You tell him what's up. Show him how to be a pro."
Well, that's interesting. Is like talk about that, right? Let's say you have a pretty young team. You're gonna have production, but at the same time, right? Adams is that trade piece that. Look, he's old enough where he's probably not going to bring in a ton of value. But you can absolutely offload him to a contender at the trade deadline or going into the playoffs, and then get back picks, get back a younger player, and then you're totally set. So I love the young build with one or two vets that you can sell off in season.
Yeah, I'd like there's certain guys that have name cachet and stuff like that, and Adams is one of those guys. So I don't mind. Like it's a little bit of a reach just based on how I'm building my team, but I'd be fine with it. It's to your point, it makes sense. Like you just pick your guys, and it's a lot harder in the world to trade the Terry McLaurins, the Amari Coopers, the DeAndre Hopkins. Like those guys are hard to trade at this point. So I'd take a guy that I feel like I had a better chance of trading. Ooh, Spears, interesting. I don't know how I feel about Spears. Are you guys in on Spears still, or are you kind of out?
Kind of.
I'm not out.
I was never all that in.
Yeah, I'm kind of
I think Pollard's a good back. He was definitely hurt. I mean, he's come out and said it, even after he didn't have to say it anymore because he wasn't trying to convince teams to take him, right? So I do believe that narrative, and I think the team has said it's going to be a 50-50 split between these two guys. I totally agree with that. But the Tennessee offense, are we really banking on Will Levis to move this team? He's got all the weapons, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the weapons, it's part of it. He's got a cannon, so it should be interesting. We'll see how it works.
One thing I will say is I do like the Brian Callahan hire coming over from Cincinnati to be the head coach there and run things. That should spark the offense, but like we've heard, they haven't even mentioned Traylon Burks' name all offseason. Hop is 32 years old. Calvin Ridley, who I like, but for fantasy purposes, forget it. So. It's just a really interesting situation there. I don't really want anything to do with either of those backs this season.
All right, pause quickly. 9th round starts with Troy Franklin, Joe Mixon, Bryce Young, Christian Kirk, Trey Benson, Dallas Goedert, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin, Tyjae Spears, Marshawn Lloyd, Hollywood Brown, and George Kittle, who was the tight end I was hoping would get back to me. And let's kick it off with the 10th and final round.
That's such good
Love it.
value on Kittle. That's especially tighter premium. That's like insane value.
I know I've been punting for like 3 rounds, just waiting, saying, fuck, hopefully Kittle will make it to me. Hopefully Kittle will make it. And then I should have taken him there. I don't know why I didn't just take Lloyd with my last pick, but
It's all good.
Well,
yeah, I've been there. You push it too far sometimes.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting situation, though, Aaron. I mean, I assume you're taking a tight end here. And if you look at
yes,
who's left on the board,
yes, I am. Yes,
if you
I am. Yes, I'm taking him. Shut up.
I don't know. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Which tight end am I taking next?
Well, Dallas Goddard's gone, so you can't take your mortal enemy.
No, I knew I didn't get George Kittle with my 9th round pick because I knew if Kittle went, I could get my tight end in the 10th round, and you know who it is.
Njoku.
No, it's not.
Luke
Fuck,
Musgrave.
Jeremy, you should be ashamed of yourself that you haven't guessed this.
And Njoku.
I'm ashamed.
I don't know who the hell you're taking. Who the hell are you taking?
You take Calvin Ridley, and I'm even more ashamed of you right now.
Oh, Chig. You taking
Chig? Oh no, don't take Chig.
I don't know.
No, he's fine. I'm just kidding. He's fine.
No.
The juggernaut. There it is.
Oh, all right.
He's buried in rankings. He's absolutely buried in rankings.
I had to type his name in.
Yeah, he's super deep. That's the thing.
If he lands oh my God. And there was some hype today. I forget who it was. Was it Schrager? Someone was talking about the fact that he's absolutely going by the 2nd round. Sanat. I mean, we've heard that the NFL loves this guy. Oh man, if he goes in the top, if he goes in round 2, I don't care if it's super late round 2, and if he goes to a spot, I've heard the Colts, somewhere like Miami, is one of these places that's super interesting. I'm gonna be all in.
I'm not gonna lie, you're. Half the time, I don't even know what you're talking about, but you look so much more credible with that backdrop. You just
Hollywood,
look like,
baby.
like he looks like he's a rich Hollywood agent, and suddenly everything he says just makes sense.
It's amazing.
Oh, I gotta pause this. One sec. Let me pause this and message Brad to ask who he wants because he's not paying attention.
I'm gonna move here full time. I think just to completely troll you guys. No,
your sleep schedule will be a lot better.
Yeah, that's true, bro. That's true. I should start doing in the summertime. I should start doing outside on location in Amsterdam.
Right, that would be sweet. I'd watch
videos. Yeah.
Well, that'd be fantastic.
Ask people on the street in Amsterdam who they're drafting in their fantasy drafts, and they're like, "What?"
You just go on adventures. Go to the weed shops. You just make it a full time.
I do that anyway, but yeah, you can film them.
God.
All right, so when it gets to me, I'm gonna try to take my guy, but it's not gonna be a running back. We'll see if it even lets me because I'm maxed out roster spots right now. Oh yes, I can. This is beautiful. Fuck running backs. We're taking this all, baby. Let's
there you go.
Pretty Ricky in the house. Yeah.
Wait, is Ladd still on the board?
He is.
Yes.
Oh,
I have Ricky above him, but I know I'm bullish on him. But they're the same team.
No,
whatever. Get your guy.
They're
very similar players too, actually.
They are. I agree.
So if I was going to be smart with value, I'd probably take Ladd. But you know what? I just want the guy I think is a better player. So I should take a better player.
Yeah, and there's nobody on the board at this point that I want over Ladd. Maybe Tony Pollard, but like I just said, I'm not super interested in any of those guys. There's a lot of meh here. Maybe you take Aaron Rodgers. There goes Ladd. Well done. Maybe you take Aaron Rodgers here. Maybe you take Russell Wilson or Carr. I'm going to do something interesting. We'll see. It's the 10th. It's going to depend where they land. But we'll go ahead and take my QB5 and just hope for magic. We'll go with Michael Penix as the QB3. Hopefully he can turn it around more than the 5% success rate that Andrew Cooper was talking about with QBs drafted 5th.
Look at Hollywood over here with the big Penix energy.
You love
That's right. You goddamn.
It's so fitting, baby. It's so fitting.
So let's take a look at what we've got here. Does everybody have every position? We got 3 quarterbacks, 2.
I don't have a second running back, but there's a million running backs.
Yeah. You're fine.
Yeah. I'm looking at the running backs available.
Good.
It's like Pollard, Chubb, all these dudes. I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so we'll go. I guess I'll start with mine. I got CJ Stroud and Tua as my quarterbacks. Running backs are Gibbs, Jacobs, Najee Harris, and Marshawn Lloyd. Wide receivers are Neighbors, DK, and Keenan Allen. And my tight end is Ben Sinnott. I have some talent I like. I don't feel great about this roster. I feel like this would be a roster where I'm probably going to be like a third or fourth place team. I don't think I have enough firepower, but I think I'm decently balanced. It kind of, it's Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, whether they've still got something left in them. There's a lot of question marks here, but it's not a terrible team. I like CJ Stroud. My last 3 picks, I kind of went off the reservation, but how about you, Jesse? What do you think of your team?
I actually, my thought process going into this is I want a young team to build for the future. So I'm more punting with this team for year one. Like, there's a lot of good pieces that I like, but I don't expect this team to be competing because I need all of these guys to take a step forward, which just realistically is not going to happen. So what my strategy was getting the young guys that I liked at value, and they kept falling for some reason. Maybe it's because we haven't had the rookie draft yet, but the one team I want to point out is Crooked Toe because that is the win now team. Like, you look at his roster, it's got Lamar, CMC, Tyreek, and then he's got Ken Walker, insulates it with Jalen Waddle. That's my whole issue with Fields on that roster. That he does, like, he's an upside shot, but you desperately need another quarterback on this roster because if he's not starting, right, you're taking a hit. So, like, I liked his build, but like, you just got to swap out Fields.
With you going young, do you wish you could have taken a young running back or like Troy Franklin instead of Devontae Adams? Or is your plan, would it just be to flip him during the season?
I would have taken a young player. Like, I wouldn't have taken Adams. I would have continued this build. But, like, I was panicking midstream offseason, like all that fun stuff. So, like, I'm looking at the players who I would have taken if there's any young guys. Really, I mean, if I'm going wide receiver, I'd rather get Deontay over Adams just because he's younger. If I was going to get, like, a producer like that. But I would have taken Jonathan Brooks with the running back I would have taken. Like, that would have been the guy I would have targeted at that spot. And, like, that's who I would have wanted.
How about you, Hollywood?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, 2 running backs, Bijan and Saquon, are locked in. Because Saquon was there and I just really liked the value, I just went for the win now squad. I think I have the opportunity. JSN is a little bit of a longer term play. Maybe I could have gone 2 elite vets and done Adams and Cup at the turn. That would probably be a regret there. Just go for it completely. The other thing is unhappy that I missed out on Lad McConkey there. But I could have gone somebody like, who was I looking at earlier? Yeah, I mean, even instead of JSN, you could have gone a rookie wide receiver. So overall, I'm happy with about 8 of these 10 picks, and I think I have a good chance to be in the top 3 in year one.
You brought up something there. You said you got sniped on Lad McConkey. Okay, Jeremy has used this term correctly. Every time, I don't know how many times I've been in a draft, and I've been at the end of the guys at the end of a second round, and someone who should have gone in the first round gets taken before him, and he goes, "You sniped me on Puka Nacua." No, Puka Nacua was drafted where he belonged. Someone reached here on Lad McConkey. He sniped you. Nobody else was thinking Lad McConkey except for your crazy ass. That's a snipe.
I
would say he actually fell quite a bit. Like, I would expect him to go.
I don't think I didn't really want him there. I've been out on Lad though since I did my last round of grades. He did not grade out well for me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see where these guys land. It's gonna matter for these 3rd, 4th tier wide receivers. But yeah, I almost took him over Troy Franklin. I think he's a better talent than Troy Franklin. I just think the speed of Troy Franklin plays, and we saw the production and what he can do with a competent quarterback. So, I think it's a toss-up between those 2 guys. And if you want to throw Ricky Pearsall into the mix, picking between those 3 is tough.
Yeah, I think it's a lot safer with Lad. Like, there's higher risk variance with Troy Franklin just based on the skill set and what he's going to be. Like, Lad, you can kind of lock him into that PPR slot guy who's going to get easy targets and points that way. So, like, I think from fantasy perspective, it's a lot more likely he gives you points than Troy Franklin, especially in year 1.
Anybody stand out as getting way overdrafted? I'm looking through, and for me, who'd you say?
Buddy Brad. Gabe Davis. Why the fuck are you taking him?
Oh, yeah.
Right there? There's so many other guys. Like, I don't understand that pick at all.
I was thinking for me, it was Dalton Kincaid. I don't like him in the middle of the 5th.
No, I mean, that's his
interesting.
That's his value. Well, if you look at the
that's
it is. Fields in the 7th, I don't love.
But well, hang on. Let's talk about Kincaid's value for a second, because we're all assuming that he's going to be the number 1, number 2 target in Buffalo. But Buffalo could come in and they could draft, they could say, okay, Shakir, you're in the slot. and they could pepper him with 115 targets. It's certainly possible. He showed flashes. They could come in and draft a wide receiver in the first and a wide receiver in the third, fourth, and then automatically have weapons all of a sudden. And then Dalton Kincaid could just fall back a little bit, even with the flashes he showed, to a guy who's getting 90 targets and then fall into this late end tight end one. So we're assuming he's there. I know the talent's there, but that's kind of why I went Kelsey over him, because I know the targets are coming to Kelsey. The only issue there is if he's fallen off a cliff or not.
Did you ever think a year ago you could have a team, that would have, say, Patrick Mahomes as your QB1 with Trevor Lawrence or Kyler as your 2, and then you could have Tyreek, we'll say Mark Andrews, Josh Jacobs, who else we got here? Debo, Keenan Allen, Derrick Henry. A year ago, if I had told you in a 10-round draft those could be your 10 picks, you'd be like, fuck off. But I love this part of the year where all of a sudden the guys who like Derrick Henry are like, oh, they're fucking dead. And then we get to week 1 and we're like, wait, I need guys who can score points, right? Okay, suddenly he's not so bad. So the more I look at this, especially team 1, I'm going, damn, Derrick Henry late. I'm not big on Ramondre, but still Kittle, he got some late value there. And I think this is why I draft a lot of win now teams. That 90% of dynasty leagues fold within a couple of years. So especially in the industry where everyone is burnt out at the end of the season and just dumps other leagues anyway. So
yeah, you have to know your league and the league you're in. And if it's a random league like this one is, we don't know the people, that's more likely to happen. So I'm fine with doing now. But these names, they're gonna fall. So Jacobs is gonna fall next year. All these Barkley's gonna fall. So all these guys next year that are in this range, they're gonna fall next year. You just have to build that into their price and accept it. You're not gonna be oh, he's gonna stay 4th round. The fuck he is. He's getting older. So the old guys. And same thing with Kelsey. He's gonna fall again, even if he's the tight end 1. That's just kind of how it goes. We just have to accept it.
And to that point, it's really important if you build win now to be very honest with yourself and your team in the early part and middle part of the season. And if it's not happening, you have to sell those guys off as soon as possible and just rebuild, because the worst thing you can do is go win now and then say, well, if they turn it around, I have a chance, and it could still, and really just hold on to those guys too long. You have to really assess your team honestly and get out quickly if it's not going your way.
You need to be looking at points for too, not just your rankings. Because I don't know how many times I've seen a team going, oh, but I'm 3-3. Yeah. I think I'm a contender. I'm 4-2. Yeah, well, you're 4-2 with the second lowest points scored, and you've just had the worst opponent every week. So.
And also use the max points for on Sleeper. There's a max points for filter. Use that. It's so helpful to use.
All right, well, we've gone pretty late here, and I got to get the kid to bed, so that's going to be a wrap. Check back tomorrow, 10:30 a.m. I think it's me and Jeremy. We're going to be on with Pat Fitzmaurice of Fantasy Pros. Head over to the website, fantasyfootballuniverse.com. Check out all our written content there, including 150 or so rookie profiles, offense and defense. Follow us anywhere on our socials at Fantasy Football Universe, at FF Mad Scientist, at FF_Rebel, at JMoller05, or SC is at the PPR Show. Follow, subscribe, comment, review, any of that. We interact with pretty much everyone, as you can see with our roster audit series coming up next week. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you to everyone who participated in the draft. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Have a good night.